Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Another video to answer all your questions on the channel. I really appreciate all these questions that I get on the channel. I've got back to most of these. Some of them I may have not got back to. I figured I'll do this video. It kind of helps everybody out that maybe doesn't check out the comment section. If you are following along the channel, I encourage you to go down and look at all the comments on all, most of the videos that I do post. There's a great community here. A lot of people helping each other out with their investments as well. So if you aren't subscribed though as well, we've been almost going for a year on the channel. We're almost up to 800 subscribers, which is pretty awesome. This channel's growing. The channel's growing faster than my portfolio, and it's great to have you follow along. So check below. Subscribing is free, like I always like to say. It'd be great to have you follow along. Let's just jump into the questions. All right, here we go. We got a bunch this month, which is pretty awesome. So first one comes from Carmel, and she says, hello, Mark. My name's Scott, but anyways, we'll go with Mark. Just wondering, when you buy a fractional share, do you get a fraction of the dividend? Great show, thank you. So Carmel, thanks for watching. Hopefully you're subscribed and you'll see this video when it gets posted. So to answer your question on fractional shares, you will get a fraction of that dividend as well. It'll get divided up into how much of the fractional shares you have, and you'll get that deposited if it's in your TFSA. The dividend will come at the same time as everybody else gets their dividends. It will show up in your cash portion of the account in your portfolio, whether it's your TFSA or your regular investment portfolio or your RSP on Wealthsimple. So good question though. Question from Lit, great video, well thank you. Can you hold cryptocurrency ETFs in our ETF? She just wants to make sure that this is true. Yes, you can hold cryptocurrency ETFs in your TFSA. You can also hold them in your RSP. You can't hold regular cryptocurrency in your TFSA or RRSP or your regular investment portfolio as well. That's completely separate. So if you are in Wealthsimple, it does have a crypto account that is completely separate. You can't keep those in your registered accounts as like the tokens or coins directly. It has to go through an ETF. But there's lots of good ETFs out there actually. I have a couple in my portfolio. You can check those out in the link description, or you can watch some of my videos where I do talk about them. But definitely you can keep them in your TFSA. Adam F, any thoughts on Greenlane Renewables earnings? This was on Thursday. This is, if you're watching this in the future, this was last week this happened, and how the stock price will react. Should be positive earnings. It was positive, but the stock is around $1-ish. I haven't checked today. Tempted to get another 100 shares at this price. Yes, I'm still kind of really long-term. That's one of my long-term investments of the portfolio. If you're watching, you know that. If I can hope, again, it depends if you have any money to invest in it. I'm not, dumping money into just a gamble like that, but slowly I think we'll still add to Greenlane Renewables as well. I think long-term, I think there's some opportunity with that one in terms of the stock price appreciating, but also possibly this is the type of company that's doing well. They have no debt. They're not really making any money yet, starting to. But I think there's maybe some opportunity there for them to be bought out by a larger company, something like that. So there might be some good upside on the long term with Greenlane Renewables. Just my take, obviously do your own research on the stocks that you want to invest in. And another question from Y-Gag, good name, I guess. Is this my only portfolio? How do you save this much money? Please advise. So it is not, there is a video I did about a month ago, kind of shows, I talked about my other investments that I have, how long I've been investing, that kind of stuff. Check that out on my channel. That will kind of answer a lot of this question. But no, the TFSA is just the one I use for my channel. I do have a short version of this. I do have an RRSP. It is Wealthsimple Invest, so, but I do regular deposits on Wealthsimple Invest. So not my only portfolio. I don't have all my eggs in my TFSA, just a diversified portfolio, but I've chosen to share this one online. Question from Alan, how do you invest your dividends from Wealthsimple? Basically, Alan, I'm just not, there's a bit kind of confused with this question, but I reinvest it in my portfolio. So if the dividends get received in my TFSA, they stay in my TFSA account, obviously, and I just reinvest in the stock. So if you're new to investing and you are receiving a dividend, it will go into, when you receive the dividend, it will get deposited into basically the account that the dividend, where the stocks are held. So if it's a TFSA, it'll get deposited into the cash component of your TFSA. You'll get an email notification if you have those turned on from Wealthsimple. It will let you know how much dividend you received, and that you can now reinvest. You can always, or you can take it out if you want. Obviously, if you're taking it out of your TFSA, that's limiting it to be able to go back in, but you can do what you want with it. If it's in like a non-registered account, that's cash, that's for you. You can take out, do whatever you want with. So reinvest it, or you can transfer it to another account if you wanted to. TFSA, I kind of just leave everything in there. Just makes things simpler to know about contribution rooms, withdrawals. And of course, my portfolio is long-term, so I'm not really needing or wanting to take it out anyway, so I just reinvest it. Hopefully that helps. Good question though. And one from Rod E. Rod's left quite a few comments on the channel, so I really appreciate Rod. Thanks for following along. Have you tried Wealthsimple tax software? Someone else on YouTube was sharing a referral link. I'm not sure about that, but maybe, I think Wealthsimple started this tax software last year, so they're probably trying to really push it. And you do see it when you log into the account. You see the tax, it gives you reminders a lot to check out their tax software. He's had a bit of trouble because he had an existing account, and then he's trying to create a new one. It seems pretty user-friendly, highly recommended. And he mentioned some TransAlta Renewables is on fire lately. It's done okay, so happy with that. But to the tax question software, I've never tried the Wealthsimple tax software. I have a tax person that I have always kind of dealt with for a while. I just haven't bothered to even check it out. I guess my one thing with tax software is you kind of, I mean, it's free, that's great. I think if you have a basic tax filing, it might not be a bad idea, but if you're, say, for example, self-employed or have some kind of unique situation, especially maybe if we have some investments and stuff like that outside of Wealthsimple, I don't know how it's going to pull that information in. So it might always be better to use a accountant, a bookkeeper, somebody that does taxes, depending on your situation. So can't really recommend it. I don't use Wealthsimple Tax. I have an accountant that I use and send my tax stuff every year. It's just easier to not even have to worry about it myself and just let the professionals do it instead of me. Good question though, but check it out. From Chris, do you have any suggestions for funds in an RSP on what stocks to keep? That's a kind of a loaded, hard question to answer. Not really, sorry, I wish I did. The portfolio that I'm building is the one that I've chosen to do, and everybody should go and make their own decisions with what they're investing, what their risks are, what their, what their long-term goals are, short-term goals, what it's for. So it's really hard to recommend one stock. So definitely if you're watching my channel and watching the stocks that I'm invested in, by all means, don't put your money in them unless you've done your own research to learn about that. That being said, a good way, if you're new to investing, I think would be to check out the Wealthsimple Invest app, and they have it on their website as well, Wealthsimple, and that's like their robo-advisor. So what you can do is, if you've never set up an investment account before you go on your own to do your own portfolio, although it is fun to kind of build your own portfolio with a portion of your money. If you're new to it, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that because you might not get into the right things for your time frame and that kind of thing. Go to Wealthsimple Invest, check it out. You can also just walk through the process, and what it does is it will ask you a number of questions as you're building your account, what kind of account you want to open up. You can do an unregistered account, you can do a TFSA, you can do an RSP, and it will ask you a series of questions that go through what your risk tolerance is for different stocks and what your time frame is. And then what it will do is it will build a portfolio for you of a good diversified mix of ETFs, and there's also a cash component, and there's a different scale. You really have to check it out once you kind of, if you fill it out properly with how you are as an investor, it will do a pretty good job of getting you started. And I think it's a good way to get started, because what you can see when you get that portfolio built, you will see the different ETFs that are within that. You can actually go in and see what ones they're suggesting for you, and then you can maybe take that advice from that, and if you want to invest in some of those ETFs on your own, you could always do that. But it's a good way to kind of start and get a feel for investing, get a feel for how the market is moving around, and because you'll see it still go up and see it still go down, and that's kind of a good way to start. Another good thing about the Wealthsimple Invest, I find, especially for investors that are maybe a bit more risk adverse or don't want to pay as much attention to the portfolio, is you can set up your regular deposits. So you could, for example, every Monday you could have $50 going into your Wealthsimple Invest account. It will automatically invest it into fractional shares of these different ETFs. So you will keep investing no matter what the market is doing. The biggest thing I've learned with investing on your own is that there can be a lot of emotion involved. And of course, if the stock price is down, you're always sometimes maybe leery of putting your money into it. Or if it's up too high, here it's the same thing. You're thinking, oh, it's too high, I'm gonna wait for it to go down. And you kind of miss out on those opportunities. One thing is basically, it's simple. You've probably read it before. I'm not making it up, but it's time in the market is better than timing the market. So the Wealthsimple Invest will kind of help you spend time in the market without timing it, because if you set up a consistent deposit, it will consistently transfer it in from your bank account and invest it for you, and you can hopefully see the rewards in the future. Good question though. Hopefully that helped you out. Last question, Karunan, and I can't pronounce your last name, so I am not even going to try. Shopify dropped down a lot. Is it worth investing in now? So Shopify, one of the Canadian stocks that just went crazy the last year or so. I couldn't advise either way. I kind of tend not to chase things that have dropped. Just because I am not advanced enough in investing to know if that's a good time to buy or a good time not to buy. Maybe if Shopify is something that you had researched and were thinking of buying anyways, that may be a good opportunity to do it. But again, do your own research and find out. I find it's best not to necessarily chase stocks or investments both ways, even if it's down. Don't when you chase it, but also too when the stuff starts to run up, that's when everybody has that FOMO, if you're missing out on something, and that's when the price will increase as well, and people kind of buy more and spend more on a stock than they maybe should. So probably not great advice on that one. I guess the thing is, do your own research. If you feel it's a good position or a good price to buy at, by all means. If you are, if you've researched it and want to do it, go for it. Thanks for watching. It's a bit of maybe a long video for questions, but I do appreciate your questions. Hopefully that helped you out. I do really appreciate questions on the channel. I do my best to answer. I'm not a financial advisor or planner by any means, so obviously on everything, do your own research. There's lots of information online, lots of information on different websites, other YouTube channels, all that kind of stuff. A lot of other YouTube channels will get a lot more involved in kind of stock analysis than I will on this channel by any means. Definitely a beginner here. So, hopefully you're learning. I'm learning as well. That's all, everybody. If you aren't subscribed, you made it this far, it'd be great to have you subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the 1-year anniversary. I don't think we're not quite going to make that, but everyone is appreciated. We'll do a portfolio update later on this week, probably towards the end of the week. I am filming this on today. If you're watching this, it is a good day on the market, so maybe check your portfolios. Everything is doing pretty well, so it's kind of nice to see. We'll do an update later on in the week. Catch you all in the next video.